Hi, macroeconomics class. This is Dr. Seibert talking to you about your chapter this week. And it seems like a very prevalent chapter. We're looking at the unemployment, inflation, and deflation. So, as you read through this chapter, you probably never realized there were so many levels of employment, unemployment, particularly unemployment. And so, obviously, right now in our economy, we have a lot of unemployment. What kind of employment is it? Is it somebody trying to get a job that had never been in the market? Probably not. Is it somebody that already had a job and needs a job? Most likely. So there are different ways that we classify them, and the government will classify them to see what really the mix is. Most likely in this pandemic, people are trying to get a job. They had jobs and they're not finding them. They're not just people starting out. So, there are different ways that we account for this type of thing. So the government, puts out money for stuff to help people, and we have unemployment, of course, and we need to know these numbers because how are we going to have enough money? I mean, right now it's looking like it's running out for people, as far as I can see. So there needs to be some way to accurately identify what type of unemployment that we're looking at. So that's what we're going to do in part of this chapter. And then the other part of the chapter, we're going to talk about some inflation and deflation. So it'll be interesting because we have lots of new policies that's going to need money. And I don't know if you guys know, but we're in a terrific budget deficit. So that means we'd have to tax a lot of people or come up with a lot of taxes to bring that deficit to zero. This was not done under one president. It's been done under a few presidents. And really, we haven't had a balanced budget. And, the last time was under Clinton's administration. So that's been a long time. That's the 90s. So most of the time, the government runs, I don't know, maybe like me owing money, right? So, they never have enough money, let's say. How's that one? There are a lot of things that people in our country need, and a lot of things the government has to do. So right now, there's not enough workers paying taxes to get things done. So we have to sort of rob the coffers of the United States government. So when we do that, it causes pretty much havoc a lot of times. And a lot of times it's going to cause some inflation. So that's what we're looking at now, possibly inflation. A little inflation can be okay. It means things are kind of being handled, money's changing hands, things are being sold, interest is low. So, things are working out okay. But now we have the pandemic and money's being given out, not probably often enough, but we're giving out money that we really don't have. Okay, so how do we collect that money, or how do we get more money? Well, it's taxes. So it's a vicious cycle. People need this money, but you can't tax them on it because they need the money. So there's going to just be a few people that are still paying taxes to try to fund all this stuff. So now the government tries to give us, print money or get more money into people's hands. And now we have inflation because we have much of this printed money out there. It doesn't really mean as much anymore or hold value like it did. So that's really a conundrum that we're in right now as far as the U.S. economy. It's very possible it can go into an inflation. Things that you can look at to monitor that would be like gas prices. I was really excited. I went to get gas today. It said $1.79, but the sign lied. It was $2.19 or a little over $2. So, okay, well, if we start having $3 and $4 gas, yeah, they're trying to get some gas taxes and things like that to pay for things, okay? As well as it just the prices are going up, and that's inflation. So that would be the thing I would be looking for, not maybe this first few months, but as the course of the next year or two go along. looking at inflation, because there's just all this money out there and nobody's investing in using that money to create capital, and that's what we need to do. So anyway, that's pretty much the scoop of this lesson here. So I think it's as we go through these, it's really interesting just to look at what we're doing in the economy versus what the our chapter is saying. We'll be getting into some other a little bit more deeper now that we're finished with the first 6 chapters. But just compare it to what's happening now, and then compare it to a year ago when we didn't have a pandemic. A year ago everything was just thriving. Now it's still dying. So just compare the two and see what policies are and good things are in place or not. Particularly right now the stock market's doing well. And that's a good thing. So people aren't scared to spend their money and invest in their 401ks, things like that. But we need to start looking at things like that as another indicator versus if it's inflation. So people go into the stock market because they're not going to get any money in the banks for their money, whatever they'd like to put it in. But if the stock market gets volatile, then we're going to have a lot of problems with there's nowhere for the money to go to really make the money that the investors need. So into that point, I'm just going to say I've read where cryptocurrency is getting popular again. Elon Musk bought some Bitcoin, and then he's advertising actually one of the cryptocurrencies. So maybe that's something that will end up being bigger now in this economy. So interesting things to see and to study about when it's actually happening. When I studied economics, there wasn't a whole lot happening. Sometimes during elections is when things start popping. So maybe we'll see a few things happen during our semester here. So have a great week, and I'll talk to you later.